It's after 10 o'clock. I filibustered. I talked a lot about economics of sports and guys that own things. Our buddy Dylan Butler knows about guys who own things and are not happy about it until he sells. And we bring Dylan in. And, so we did the economics of soccer this morning because of John Texter and transfer bans and paying and needing to pay Atlanta United about $31 million and using the wimpy philosophy of financing. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a 19.4% interest rate today. So that's kind of where we've been this morning.
I have a question for you though, John, and it's been a while. Glad to be back here with you.
Yes.
Is there anything other when we talk about takeovers?
Yeah.
Isn't it always hostile? I feel like there's no other.
There's no friendly take.
Yeah.
There's no friendly takeovers.
Right.
It's a takeover is always. I would think that a takeover is something that is done against your wishes. Therefore,
it's not like a sale is different, right?
Yes.
A sale is like, all right, we're selling, it's all good. But a takeover is just right away. It's hostile.
Yes, it's just on its.
Like, I'm taking this away from you.
Okay,
that's very hostile of you. What do you?
Well, it's like that's very friendly of you. Thank you. It's very neighborly for you to take that off of my hands. So, yeah, I mean, it's a mess, and we thought it was important to try and analyze the mess in and of itself and understand where folks are coming from in their financial positions to understand how crazy it is that sometimes these folks are still allowed to function as owners. But if you have folks with a lot of money and a lot more money than you and I would ever have in like 19,000 lifetimes, if they see sports as asset instead of, oh, hey, look at that. You own a soccer team. No, it is an asset. And you've got these dudes with a boatload of money seeing folks who are kind of flopping around, not really doing well economically, then they're going to come in and look at the asset and, hey, you want to keep this afloat? You want to keep this asset going? Then we're going to give you X amount of dollars, but we're going to charge you an incredible interest rate. And that's what Texter is having to deal with right now at Eagle with Palace. And he said he wants to spin Botafogo off and he wants to get back into the day-to-day control of it. And he's under a transfer ban right now because he hasn't paid his debts. And he's kicked the can down the road to about 19 different courts. And I'm being facetious, but I mean, it's like FIFA and CAS. But that's what you have to understand these days is the economics of it all. And that folks are in the game still because of their other businesses, not because of what they necessarily own when it comes to sports. Yes. Nothing like Econ 101 on the day to end 2025, Told you, all past Wednesday, brother. All right, so I wanted to bring you in on the last day of 25 to discuss what's been going on in Major League Soccer. And it has been a busy last month or so. And you've got folks moving. You've got Schaffelberg going to L.A. You've got Justin Hack leaving NYC, and he's going to L.A. He's going to L.A., and the keeper runaround that we've had and all these kinds of things. When you look at all of these deals that have been going on even before the window kicks in and before we get to training camp, what have you thought about what you've seen so far?
I think it's been an interesting start. I think the Galaxy have gotten better for sure. Like they're the, I don't know what, if you do a horse racing analogy, like what is the quarter pole? I don't know, like whatever the pole would be, like,
the quarter,
right? Like in this, and remember too, it's, February 21st, that's coming pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, it's a sprint really of a off season, if you will. And that's, not even including obviously CONCACAF Champions Cup teams. And, pretty much in a couple of weeks, teams are already reporting for camp. So I would say right now, the Galaxy are the leaders there, right? They obviously identified a weakness in defense, right?
And you and I are sitting there going, well, duh.
But they have an MLS Defender of the Year winner, who they have now in their books, and they have a guy in Justin Hack who really versatile, right? Like I think they see him, or at least in the release, they mention him as a midfielder. Certainly he started with NYCFC as a midfielder.
Yeah.
But then he moved to center back. But now you've got a guy who could do both, right? Like a James Sands type, right? So a guy there who is good with moving the ball and um, being a ball winner as well. So I think those are positives for them. And certainly, you look at Ricky Pooch coming back as well, right? And that's a huge addition for them. So I think the approach that the G's made with last year and the way everything went, I think it went a little bit against the grain, right? Because we would be on here and at least probably once a month you were asking about hot seats
Mm-hmm.
and whose seat, and we saw a lot of changeover in terms of coaches. But I like, the mentality they have. Like, listen, we have these injuries, we messed up a few things here, but let's stay the course, and we'll be better in 26. And I think that's a team that will be.
So then, what would be your New Year's resolution for NYC?
I drove by it the other day. I guess continue.
How is Dylan Butler Estates, by the
It
way?
looks good. It looks good. I can't. I was trying to think of the correct terminology, but like the steel portions of it, like you could see, like, when you see a construction, like, oh, I could see that's the suites side, or that's the supporters section. Like you could see already the maybe the outline or the structure, right, of it. So it's looking good though. It's looking good. They had a big it was it raining or snow? I forgot. It was a bad weather day, and I still saw like a crane moving over there. I'm like, all right, keep it going, boys.
Okay. You
But
get to see the skeletal structure.
yeah, I guess so, right? Yeah, or even a little more than that.
Mhm.
They're a little past that as well, but yeah, I mean, listen, I think Pascal Janssen did a terrific job, right, with the team, and it's a team. Yeah, of course they lost to Miami, but look at what they were able to accomplish in the postseason, considering so many injuries they had. Right, like they lost a ton of guys, including one of the better, maybe not spoken enough about goal scorers in a league, right? And Martinez. So I think for them, it's stay the course. Like, yes, they lose Justin Hack to free agency, and that's, you've got to fill that void. They've got a very good academy structure, but I think they need to certainly use the CFG resources and get some more players in. But I think they're in a good shape. I think when you look at the two teams in New York, certainly they're in they're not making as many resolutions, I think, as the team across the Hudson River.
Okay, so since you went there, let's go there and talk about what's going on in Harrison, New Jersey. And Red Bulls not in the playoffs, and you were anticipating something of a seismic change. But what have you seen staring at Red Bulls getting ready for training camp?
Well, obviously, look, they started it off with bringing in Michael Bradley, right? So, I've been covering this league long enough to remember when Michael Bradley was a 16-year-old scrawny kid with his dad as the head coach in the bowels of Giant Stadium. So he has come a long way since then, and I've always thought that he had that soccer brain. Like you and I always, we deal with high school kids, and we talk about coaches' kids and just sort of how they're a little bit different, right, in their mentality. And you could always tell that too when he would speak, when he was the captain of Toronto FC, and he was he had the same kind of cadence, right, as his dad when he spoke.
Yeah.
which was measured, right? He thought of what the question was, what he wanted to say, and then he made a statement. So I like the idea of bringing him in as opposed to, I don't know, some guy from the German second division, or just kind of continue this. It seems like it's a bit of a cultural shift for this team. I don't think they're going to be all out energy drink soccer anymore. I don't. That's not the way that Michael Bradley played the game, right? So, I think it'll be interesting there. Now, there's other questions. They make, I don't know, a subtle change in terms of their name. Right now, they want to be known as Red Bull New York. They're all in on the RBNY.
They need to be on the jersey side of things. They need to just.
Yeah, we've said this before. I remember back when Red Bull purchased them, and that was a question. And I forgot who it was who answered it, but essentially the response was, and I think Jersey people aren't going to like this, but it was, from a marketing perspective, there's more cachet to the New York name than there would be to New Jersey. So,
I mean, I get it, but if you're fighting a team that's in the Bronx for that kind of elbow room, and you're playing in New Jersey, lean into Southside Johnny, lean into Springsteen, lean into Jersey, lean into.
100%, but also lean into Newark and the Brazilian population and the Portuguese population, and like, if you get those guys on board, right? Like, forget it. The Kearney area, just even in your own backyard, there's such a terrific soccer history. Like, you don't have to be the suburban soccer mom dads that you're looking at. Like, you could go heavy into just what's around your area, and maybe as well in terms of signings, right? If it's the right signing, bring in this. I don't know. I didn't prep this ahead of time, so I could be very wrong, but I don't remember the last Portuguese player that they had of significance, at least, right?
Yeah.
What was so I think that's something that, maybe their brain trust could kind of look into a little bit, and get some energy, no pun intended, but get it energized a little bit, right? Like, it feels stale right now.
And you don't have Carlos Cornell. He is looking for a home, or he had a home, and then he's like, nah, I don't like it. And so I think he headed back to South America last report. So you're going to have an interesting competition in net for Red Bull. You're going to have a new guy in charge that stormed through MLS Next Pro, and I guess the New Year's resolution, I guess, for Red Bull and Red Bull fans is patience, because of this change that you have with Michael Bradley, because of the folks that are no longer going to be there, because of the folks that have been either dealt to DC or sent on their way and not had contracts renewed, and how you try and reorient what you saw from Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting with what he was able to do, and then trying to get Forsberg back on track. It will be a challenge for Michael Bradley, and I'm intrigued. I really am, with how this change will affect things there in Harrison.
Yeah, I would say patience on the supporter side, but on the other side, show those supporters who are long-suffering supporters that there is a tangible plan, right? Like, here's what we're doing, here's the way we're going to operate it. February 21st, it won't look like we hope it looks in November, December, and even maybe next year it'll look different or better. But this is our plan, right? It doesn't have to say, here's our 5-year plan, but like, show that course, right? Of here's what we want to do. here's who we want to do it with, and here's how we want to play, and just give them a sense that it's not just leaning on a philosophy, but now we're not really leaning like have almost like a mission statement, right? Like, here's what we're going to do, and then start to show signs of doing that.
When you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia, yeah, you won the pie plate, but you got found out in the playoffs. I think that traditionally, when it comes to Bradley Carnell, you're great in one-offs, but then if you've got to go series, you get found out and it turns into a problem.
Well, I would say too, I would put the same on again. Kind of, you go from one energy drink soccer team to the next, who's gone absolutely, studs up into it.
Mhm.
Um, does that style work in the postseason? And I haven't,
Mm-mm.
like, it hasn't,
Mm-mm.
right? Like,
Oh,
even if you look at the best Red Bulls teams, and you go back to Red Bull against Atlanta, right? When they were coming, I think they were the Shield winners that year, and you had, Tyler Adams and Bradley Wright Phillips and Aaron Long and all those guys. That team couldn't win the postseason. So um, I think that was the same that we saw from Philly, right? Like, good over the course of the full season, right? You're going to get the points. And really, the story last year for a good portion of it for them was, getting the points off the teams that you should get points off of,
yes.
but struggling a little bit against the better teams. And to your point, you get into the postseason where, it's not a one-off game. Yeah, they've struggled. It's what's the plan B? And there really isn't one, kind of, from playing that way.
And you look at everybody, Cincinnati, they kind of got found out too in postseason play. Now, once again, you do great Cincy's kind of Philly Union light and, tweaked a little bit. But I think the age at the back line kind of caught up with Cincinnati a little bit.
Well, and their
And
best players disappeared in the postseason.
yes,
Like,
that's
where was Evander? Like, Evander, for a good chunk of the season, we were saying Evander was going to be the MVP,
mhm,
and he disappeared in the biggest of games.
mhm. And then you end up with Messi and friends doing Messi and friends things, getting the last game of the year, navigating the 127 matches they played. And when it comes to how they approach things from from an assembly standpoint, I'll phrase it that way and lead into it this way. How they assemble their roster and they take care of things creatively. Like I said, I'm choosing my words on purpose. Are you of the mindset of, good on the Moss brothers, good on Raul Sunleahy, good on them for figuring out creative ways to bring folks in under the current structure that Major League Soccer has? Or are you are you wagging your finger at them and going, you're not fooling anybody? Do you give them credit or do you wag your index finger at Messi and friends for how they're assembling things?
No, I mean, you give him credit, and you put that as a challenge, maybe, to the other teams in the league, right?
Mhm.
It's like, listen, this is how they did it. Here's how they were creative about it. Um, and you go and do the same thing, right? As we get forward, and we see in the coming years probably more of a loosening of the salary structure.
You need a fourth DP. I mean, legit. Just go to 4 DPs to start things off. And
Or, I mean, I don't mind the U22 stuff. Like,
I
you
know.
could have that combination, whatever. But I hear what you're saying. But um, yeah, look, that's the way that they did it.
Mhm.
Um, and now, you could, I for years, this league has leaned on its parity, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Parity.
I don't mind it. I don't mind there being a separation.
Yeah.
because now it's going to push, you would hope, the basement teams to be relevant. And can everyone do what Miami has done? No, but that's also the case elsewhere, right? Not everyone in La Liga is doing what Barcelona and Atletico and Real Madrid are doing either. But um, you have enough of those teams, so I think it's a challenge for others to maybe be. I always thought that too with CFG. Like I was like, all right, so what if they can just get what if NYCFC could just get some random, not random, but like get a really good Manchester City guy, like have him on loan, and that
Yeah,
and
you bring in like an Oscar Bob or an O'Reilly or somebody
yeah,
like that needs reps. Get them over to NYC, let them build, and then CFG has that tangible asset that they can bring back and be ready for the Premier League.
exactly.
And I think that to your point, if if you sit there and look, there are different ways to build a franchise in Major League Soccer. You have the way that Messi and friends build. I get it. You could also do what Philadelphia does and what Atlanta United does, and they build through their academy. Atlanta United more than happy to add folks and spending money to add veteran presence to those folks that you're bringing up through your academy system. Philadelphia, obviously, they bring their folks in through their academy. They don't spend any money. That's their way of doing it. But I also think, to your point, that if you are one of those teams that's not spending a whole lot of money, then if the challenge is laid to you, okay, you see what Messi and friends are doing. Do you want to do that? And you have ownership groups that are just kind of like, nah, it's not my speed. I'm fairly certain that in today's environment, you could find somebody that wants to go and they would buy one of those lower end spending franchises to be able to spend and get them up to where you see what you see out of Fort Lauderdale. I think that these assets are out there. And if you don't want to spend, I'm fairly certain that there's somebody out there who would if you don't want to do it anymore.
I would 100% agree with you. We see so many of these, even in like we see LeBron James and all these other guys like spending on Premier League teams.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they get with the World Cup and everything that's around it. Maybe now there's more of an eye on ownership in Major League Soccer. There has been, obviously, um, to a smaller extent, but maybe that grows larger, or maybe now, like you said, there's those potential owners are seeing the growth of this league and the players that are in this league and seeing this league on the rise. And it's like anything else, you want to buy relatively low,
Mm.
right,
Yeah.
before it gets too high, and then maybe sell later on, or at least get the buy-in, before it's too crazy. So I think you're still at that case probably for those. I mean, especially when you consider it against a Premier League team.
Tommy Scoops, as of about 17 minutes ago, Crew are finalizing a deal to name Hendrik Riedstrom the club's next head coach. Riedstrom, previously the manager of Malmo, won 2 league titles, currently out of work after leaving the club in September. And it was Russell Martin, former Rangers manager, not former Blue Jays and Pirates catcher, that was
I would
among
hope not.
the finalists for the gig. So it appears okay, so Riedstrom won league first 2 seasons with Malmo, as well as the 23-24 Swedish Cup, departed after Malmo finished 6th in his 3rd season. Previously head coach of IK Sirius and Kalmar FF, legendary player of Kalmar, 2 decades, 802 appearances. Riedstrom would take over for, and I'm saying would take over. The tense that Tommy Scoops is using is more active than what I will give until it is laid out there. Riedstrom will take over for Wilfred Nancy. Let's see, Swedish manager known for his attractive style of play too. Told Sky in 24 defensively, I wanted us to be close together. Everybody wants that, but then I started to think that what if we could be close to each other with the ball as well? Then we can start to connect and find solutions and progress from there. So Diego Rossi, Wessam Abu Ali, Max Arston, and it appears Hendrik Riedstrom. It was going to be the new head coach in Columbus. and this is where we all go running into Google machines and YouTube channels and clips to try to figure out more about Henrik Rydstrom, who will be apparently taking over in Columbus for Wilfred Nancy.
I mean, some of the things that you said to me sound Wilfred Nancy-esque, right?
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you would want. Like, you saw a formula that worked really well for this team, for this group of players. When a manager leaves, you can't have a complete makeover, right, of a team.
Unless you're Forrest.
Fair.
Ugh.
So this is the group that you have, and here's how they play and how they've played well. So now let's go find a manager that can fit that profile. And again, I can't quite say that I've watched many Malmo games.
No,
So,
no. I mean, I have not, Malmo has not been on my saved locations for matches.
yeah, with as much soccer as we're able to digest with streaming platforms and channels, somehow that league
Somehow the Allsvenskan in Sweden is not on your prime
here yet. I don't know.
I mean, the Mjelde was a fantastic story. So it was that's a great story for the Allsvenskan. And speaking of keepers, because I know that I wanted to kind of talk about GK rotation with you. Fabrizio Romano, as of about an hour ago, Purple team set to sign Maxime Crépeau as their new keeper. With Dane St. Clair now at Inter Miami CF, both keepers will battle for the starting spot with Canada national soccer team ahead of FIFA World Cup 26. So let me see if I have this. Let me see if I have this straight. So
the musical chairs of goalkeepers.
Yes, absolutely. So we now have, apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, Maxime Crépeau to the Purple team. Purple team had, Purple team had Galese.
Yes.
Let Galese's contract expire.
And he isn't anywhere yet.
Right. They had Carlos Coronel. Coronel was like, nah, fam, I don't think this is going to play. And so he went from being expired in Red Bulls to going to the Purple team to not showing up to the Purple team to heading back to South America. Dane St. Clair was
goalkeeper of the year
in Minnesota.
Yep.
They offered him more money.
Yep.
He's like, nah, I'm not feeling it. Goes to Messi and Friends. Messi and Friends initially did not renew the loan on Rocco Rios Novo, but then pick him up, and they grabbed 70% of his deal from Lanús, and so he wasn't there, but now he is, and so now it turns into St. Clair and Rios Novo and Ustari, and William Yarbrough, who was the fourth, is now looking for a gig. Then you've got hang on, who am I missing here? Sean Johnson, who was in Toronto. Then he ends up in D.C. as a part of their spine, where they've picked up Ty Baribeau and one of the Neelis boys, I think it was Sean, that is now part of the new spine in D.C. And then Drake Callender, who was with Messi and Friends, and he was sitting because he was trying to recover from injury, goes to Charlotte to be the 1A or 1B with Christian Kalina, as Zoran Kernetta and Dean Smith were trying to protect their flanks in case Kalina wanted to go back to Europe. Nothing happened. Kalina stays. Callender ends up going to Minnesota. Am I missing anybody?
I would say no. But that was like a shell game.
That's what I'm saying. That's
like
what
on Canal Street.
It was, and I mean, it was more than the 3 cups. But I mean, that's a lot of GK movement, man.
Yes, and still more to come, obviously, because you've got places that seemingly don't have the number one, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what is Red Bull going to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like, are they going to go with their young guy and give him the reins? And granted, he's coming off an ACL himself.
Yeah.
AJ, right?
Marcucci,
yeah, who was very good during the Open Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. Moving musical chairs here on the goalkeepers.
Moving them deck chairs when it comes to keepers. So you, sir, what did you get the pony or the llama that you asked for Christmas?
I'm looking out at my backyard. I'm glad that I didn't get either because I don't
Okay.
think I mean, I have a decent enough sized yard, but it becomes a lot smaller with a pony and or a llama.
So how was the holidays for you, sir?
Good, good, quiet. Was under the weather the week before, but that allowed also for some needed time off and recharging the batteries. And the same was true of these 2 weeks. And um, a little bit of high school basketball on the varsity media YouTubes.
There you go.
Um, but yeah, mostly just with family, which that's what you do right during this time. And I have the good fortune, I guess, of um, Christmas and my wife's birthday being 4 days apart.
Oh, so
So
you
we just yeah, and then my daughter's birthday on the other side on midway through January. So
is it a unidate for, the boss when are you do you
no,
snatch?
she's never that's I guess for those who have their birthdays as close to a major holiday, they probably all share the same. You never combine. It's like, no, these are two separate and distinctly different days,
Okay, just checking.
and never shall the two intertwine.
Okay, just checking because some folks, do the holiday combining, and I didn't know if, the
No,
the Casa de Butler was a combining household or you had to celebrate it as, 2 separate days.
no, it is two completely separate days.
Okay, just checking. When do we have a definitive date as to when the January transfer window opens for Major League Soccer yet?
Oh, I didn't look. I think
'Cause, I mean, it's like late January is all I see, and it's like, in quotation marks, you know?
um, I did not see that.
Okay. Just out of genuine curiosity. I mean, we have the intra-league deals that we've
Yeah.
seen, Schaffelberg from Nashville to LAFC. Sam Surge apparently is being courted, allegedly, possibly, probably by Wolves,
Hmm.
who seem to be wanting to get rid of, Jurgen Strand Larsen at the same time. They ain't scoring any goals with him, so let's go ahead and swap deck chairs and see what happens there. So we intra-league stuff I'm seeing. Haven't seen a whole lot of interleague things, but if you're not in training camp and somebody else is in a window, then that's what you're going. So you're on the desk today, is that right?
I am until about 2. Couple of moves already have been announced, it looks like.
Yep.
So
Ethan Kohler to the Revs from Werder Bremen. Youth International returned stateside. As I sit here and I look at my releases. Club, see, 28, 29 with an option for 2030. Let me go to the bottom of the sheet and find out what the terms are. Literally, it was just transferred from Werder Bremen. No financial terms disclosed. Spirit signing defender Lucia de Guglielmo from AS Roma of Serie A in the NWSL. What were the others that I saw this morning? Hang on just a second before you get out of here. It was Nashville have completed a deal to sign striker Warren Madrigal, per sources. The 21-year-old
from the
plays.
family Madrigal?
Yes, I guess so.
Wow.
Let's see. Plays for Saprissa. Last year on loan with Valencia. 6 goals and 25 caps for Costa Rica. And so Nashville needed depth at the number 9. He can also play wide. That comes from our friend Ben Wright. And then the other one that popped in this morning, Purple Team has acquired Paraguayan international midfielder Brian Ojeda from RSL. Luca Bendoni, first to report that. RSL is getting $1.2 million in Garber bucks plus add-ons, 14 caps for Paraguay, 123 appearances in RSL. So you have Ojeda and Ojeda now apparently for the Purple Team, and you're going to need to kind of figure out how to get those dudes apart. Have I missed anything from what you've seen this morning, or did I run through everything that came across in all
No,
the?
I think yeah. I think I will say I forgot who it was. Who is oh man, I forgot his name now, but I remember was it Mitru? Matriciu, remember the NYCFC player? I feel like NYCFC years ago, maybe it's still in the early days, but they made a signing. Like they wanted to be the first signing in the world in the new year. So
Oh, wow.
it was like announced, right at the stroke of midnight or something like that.
Matricia?
Maybe.
Alexandru Matricia. Okay, well, it says, listed as February 4th,
Oh,
and
yeah, it wasn't him then. Yeah.
so it wasn't him.
It was before that, but
Okay,
yeah.
so let's see. So
So I'm hoping that nobody does that.
Yeah, really?
But I'm not gonna be on that late anyways.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, let me do this. Let me go to the Googles before you get out of here and take it easy. Let's see. January 4th. Is there a reason they haven't signed anybody yet? Cameron Nacito and Cooper Flax. Yeah, so we're sitting there and it's like we're trying to figure out who are we talking about. January 4th, 25. Is there a reason NYCFC hasn't signed anyone yet? I love these headlines. So it wasn't Matricia, but I'm sure that you'll remember it at like 2:00 in the morning, and then you'll text me.
Yeah,
I know how this works. I exactly know how all this works. So you're on the desk today. Do they launch fireworks in your neighborhood at like midnight and everything? Do all the incorrigible youngins do that?
Probably.
Yeah, because
Probably.
it starts here at like 8:00, and it pisses me off because they scare the rowdy man, and So I was trying
No,
to.
I mean it's I think the weather here at least helps uh that not happen, but I think it still happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was trying to come up with a suitable retaliation for the noises, and I was thinking fire hose, but I don't quite have a fire hose available. Folks were thinking fire extinguisher. It's something nice that you could get in and just douse the fireworks quickly. As always, my friend, thanks for 25. It's great to see you one final time before we turn the page to 26.
Yeah, same.
And then we'll keep partying on Wednesdays, and we'll keep talking about stuff as we get into training camp 2 weeks away. Stop talking to me. Go spend time with your family.
Yeah, I tell you, February. I'm still like, I've had for the most part my Saturdays back, which are like, oh, I'm not working until 2 a.m. I'm not like a zombie on Sunday morning, but I'm like, February 21st is coming
Yep.
soon.
Mhm.
It's coming soon.
7 weeks away, and then we're all sprinting before we get into covering the cup that the world is chasing after in 26. Thanks as always, my friend. It's great to see you.
Yeah,
And go spend time with. Oh, so he's the number one dad today. The dad ingredients are what's there. So I will see yours with my Tennessee cup that I spent entirely too much on at a college football game. Be safe, my friend. We'll see you soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
There's Dylan Butler, and it's always great to catch up with Dylan and get his thoughts about what's going on in the Northeast, Eastern Conference, one of the busiest men when it comes to everything in the Northeast. Varsity Media on YouTube. That's where you get to watch all of Dylan's high school stuff, and so go watch all his high school stuff because then I get smart when it comes to recruiting and all the schools in the Southeastern Conference. They go up in the northeastern part of the U.S. and bring all the talent down here. So that's how you get smart. You watch Dylan, you find out what's going on up there, because when they come down here, you already have that knowledge base. You'll sit there and you'll win all the games with all of your friends when it comes to signing day. So who's this kid? Well, yeah, I watched on Varsity Media, and he does this, this, and this. So that's what you do. It's early recon when it comes to college hoops and all the high school stuff that's going on. I mean, shoot, if he'd had a game with Ryan Puglisi from Avon Falls, Connecticut, you'd have known about Ryan Puglisi before he went down to the University of Georgia. So keep an eye on what's going on with Varsity Media. That way you can watch and become that person that knows a lot about everybody when it comes to signing days.